Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Lumière Learning Monday, where my guest is Rajani Paranjpe, who is the founder of the Doorstep School. And she has been working in this area of education for over 50 years. So she's going to tell us how she founded the school 20 years ago and the kind of impact it has had in education and dissemination of education targeted to migrant families who come for work in construction areas, which is the core focus to ensure and enable literacy, learning, and allow for these children to attend mainstream schools. So, welcome, Rajni ma'am. Thank you so much for
Namaskar.
being our guest today. Namaskar.
Namaskar. So, where do I start? I don't know.
So
But
when we met, you
ah,
actually took us to three locations. You
ah,
took us to the place where the builders have built these schools,
right,
and then
right,
we went to the mobile unit, which is the school buses, which
right,
go into the communities. And then we went to where the publishing of the materials happens, the printing, the
right,
press, the where training happened, your training. And then we came to your office in Pune.
right.
So massive organization and deep work with so much passion. So how you are a social worker and you then started this at the time of your retirement, right?
Almost, yes. Actually, means I happened to retire immediately after that, but the time was not chosen like before retirement or something. It
Okay.
happened to be so, like that, because means my retirement was due much later, in fact, because in 88, 89 when we started the organization, but my husband retired and we shifted to Pune. So I have to retire from my job in Nirmala Niketan, teaching job. And before that, we have started this organization in Mumbai. And it is still running in Mumbai. And when we shifted to Pune, we started it in Pune also in 1993. So at both the places, the organization is working. And from the day one, all our focus is on education. Now, means we shifted it to mainly migrant laborers after some time in 2003 or something, when around Pune there were a lot of constructions were coming up at that time, and we saw so many laborers and their children, and we even in those days there were only one organization which was working with mobile construction laborers children, that was mobile creches. uh, and when we saw them, we conducted a survey in the city of Pune, and yeah, some 400 locations or construction sites we surveyed, and in that we found more than 5,000 children in the age group of 5 and 15 who were not attending school, who were sitting at home only and doing all household work and other things. So that uh, when we saw that, the thought was in my mind was like their parents who were young enough, like who were born in, maybe their grandparents were also born after independence, still nobody had education. And if we don't work with these children, then they will also go without education and remain like working like manual laborers as their parents are doing. So then we shifted our focus from slums, organized slums and other things, because there are so many other organizations working in this area, and we shifted to construction laborers, focused construction laborers, children much more. So that is how it started. Now it is going
And
on still.
where is the organization today? If you can give the audience a context of the size and scale now. How many teachers, how many children have been touched?
So in Mumbai and Pune, Mumbai we are still working in slums and other areas, not construction because there are no labor camps as such where construction takes place. Pune we are focusing on this thing, construction work. And size wise, if you say, In Pune itself, we have more than nearly 600 employed staff,
Yeah,
teachers, and others. And we work on construction sites with sugarcane workers, with wheat bhatti kamagars and other places, and also so many other migrant communities which are not like particular like the ones we see on roadsides
yeah.
making murtis and other things, so those kind of things we are doing. And we are also working in schools, so together nearly 50,000 to 60,000 children we cover almost every day. We touch them
Wow.
almost every day on this thing. So that is about the size and work we are doing. And it is
So this
what we
project
focus on.
foundation, which is the work on sites, that has been now going on in Pune for about 20 years.
Yes, and it is yes, it is more than 20 years in fact. From 2003 means to 25 years nearly it is going on. So and our major work or major focus is on enrolling children in school, then teaching them a foundational literacy and numeracy, which is very essential because even if they go to school and attend school, many times they miss learning these things. Like so many children do not even know full set of alphabets when they are promoted from grade 1 to grade 2. So we focus on foundational literacy and numeracy and reading skills mainly by running the libraries for these children and for all children. And this is our program. Like library is one of our projects from the day one. Whenever we started with four projects. One was like learning Balwadis
Yeah,
for children wherever we enter, because in those days ICDS program was not but not running in the cities. It was only in tribal areas and rural areas. So Balwadis, then every child means we are not a parallel schooling system. We
yeah,
enroll every child in school at the age of 6, as it is required. And whatever is required for school enrollment means earlier it used to like children used to need a birth certificates or age certificates and other things which their parents didn't have with them, and that was one of the major difficulties in getting admission. So all those things we helped the parents and got the children enrolled. But just enrolling a child in school doesn't guarantee his learning as such, because parents do not know much or means in those days when we started first, almost all children were first generation learners. These days the situation has changed a little bit, means parents have at least been gone to school, third standard, fourth standard, seventh standard, they have studied. And so the school enrollment, then helping them in their studies is our major focus. If required, we even provide them school transport and see to it that the child continues in school. And because they are migrant laborers, we also when they work with parents and teach the parents or help them teach not reading and writing. We tell them about their role as a parent of a school going child and help them understand it and deal with school teachers, school compliances which are required and all those things. So that is the basic core of our work mainly.
so when we visited the center, when we went to the community, we saw how the children came. There was a place for them to there was a little mirror so they could, you know,
Correct.
just, and even when they came inside, different teachers were sitting with different age groups because
Right.
there is from the younger going up, I think from 5
With,
going up
at construction locations, we have younger children from 6 months and above.
6 months above also.
Because their parents, both the parents are working on construction sites, and they otherwise older children cannot go to school because they have to look after the younger children. And builders are very keen that we look after all the children, for safety reasons, because on building construction sites, safety is the major problem for them. So all children are there. Six and above age group children, they go to school and come back there. But all other children are with us for the whole day, entire day, from 9:30 to
So in the early days, did you have to lobby with these builders to make them, to make a case that you should create a shed? So did you have to go and do a lot of talking and influencing in the early days?
yes, a lot of talking, and mainly because we were also not ready to run full day crash kind of or daycare centers. We thought that we will go and teach the children only six and above old, and 2 hours every location we will work. But when we discussed this proposition with builders, their problem was different. Their problem was mainly looking after children and children's safety. So the whole day children were to be looked after. So that was their condition. But therefore, we started daycare centers on construction locations and looking after children now 6 months and above. And the classrooms are next to the labor camps, so parents can come and go, and children can also go home for lunch. And babies, like nursing mothers, come and feed the babies and other things. So it is the working, but lot of work needed to be done with builders and also the funding organizations, because everyone feels ki, what is the use, the children are going to go, they are not going to stay here, because they will be shifted to another location in 6 months, 1 year or something. So their education will never be completed while they are with us. So what is the use, they will discontinue education and other things. So we have to talk with the funders also. Yes, that is true. We will not be able to show you the impact, such as kids. So many children have done SSC, so many children have done this and that. But if we don't start with them, then these children will remain illiterate. And for 3 generations, it means their parents, as I said, they were also born in independence. Their parents were also born in independence, age-wise. Then it means so many never in their families education will never start. So we have to start somewhere, and it will go further. If whatever can be done, we will do it. How much they will, because to aspire even for sending children to school, one has to have, for any aspirations for that matter, one has to have some kind of experience of it. Something you should have seen, something role models have to be there, something you have to know what is the school like. So we are sending the children to school, hoping that they will continue in school again, and we will teach their parents that they do so. But even if they don't, they will get the experience of schooling, and they will be motivated to send their children to school. That was the idea behind it, and that is how we have to. And even now, whenever I talk about working with construction laborers, the first question anybody asks me is, "But what is the use?" Hmm? So what? Because they are not going to complete the education, which is the correct thing, which is right. But the use is the introduction of education in their families, and that has happened not only with construction laborers, but the street children with whom we were working. Because now so many years, 30 years and more, we are working in this field. So the street children with whom we were working never completed any education. The children are grown up adults now, and they have their own children. And sometimes somebody meets our teacher or somebody on the street, they talk to them and say, "Ki, we are doing the same thing. We are not doing anything different. But we have kept our children at home in Gavi. We have kept them in our village, and we are educating them. So
Yes.
that is the result, and that is the impact we
Yeah.
expected to, and that we are getting also.
So you have seeded the value of education with them. Similarly, I think what I noticed is that you have specially created content to
Yeah,
make reading simpler. You also have stories that the children themselves learn to write and then
right,
enact. And I saw all of that. So the kind of confidence that these children
yeah,
demonstrated,
correct.
you want to talk about that part.
So the confidence is the thing which you have said just now is the correct thing, because that is the learning they have got. And so many have even completed education. So many means percentage wise they are not so many. I have to say that. And even if they are, we are not in touch with them, because once they go away, even if we track them for some time and all that, till they complete their education and all that, tracking is not possible. Nowadays it is somewhat possible, much more possible than it was earlier, because of mobile phones and other things. But otherwise, there was no way of finding them. But with confidence, they do it. We have books published by of the stories written by the children. You have seen the children talking and singing poems and other things.
Yeah.
And in schools also, they do very well. Now, in January, in the January 26th, we are having an event and a get together of our past students, and more
Okay.
than 150 students we were able to connect with,
Okay.
who have completed education and working and doing something much more at the higher level than their parents were doing. Like some are
Amazing.
working in banks, some have done engineering diploma, so the number may be small or the percentage will be small, but I am very sure that all those who have studied with us, even for a small period of time, their children they will surely send to school and see to it that they get educated. Because the dream we have given to them, we have given them aspiration and also, of course, confidence.
So now getting the builders to say yes is become easier, and reaching donors is still remains a bit of a challenge.
But reaching donors will, I suppose, will always be a challenge. But these kind of questions nowadays, not many donors ask. "Ki, what will you do? How will you show the impact and other things?" Because we are able to talk to them and
Yes.
show them that this is a must. The first step has to be taken by somebody. The first step can never be the necessarily you will reach your end goal, but that has to be taken first. If you don't take it, then you will never reach. That is for sure. So this is means builders, of course, are much more motivated. Initially, the kind of means facilities we used to get at the building construction sites, and now we get a far more different and much more many facilities they give, like washrooms and for a good kind of shade for running the classes. They also take interest in children and other things. So that is the difference is there. Means among the donors also and the builders also.
The other thing that was very interesting that I saw is that you have a monthly necessity, the parents have to come for a meeting
Yeah,
to talk about the child's progress, and you
right,
communicate that like a monthly PTA. That must also be a tremendously empowering and a positive uh,
right.
motivation for these parents to keep their child in school.
Yeah, that is there. And unless parents are involved in child's education, whether parents are educated or not educated, their involvement is a must. We who are born in middle class families and otherwise, or educated families or something like that, the families where whether the child is to be sent to school or not to school is not a question. It is the child will go to school, get so many things knowingly or not knowingly from the parents and from the atmosphere which is in the house. Whereas
Correct.
these children lack this thing totally, fully. There is no education atmosphere at home. So parents have to be taught as what is their role as a uh, parent of a school going child. And that we do. We have a project also, parents participation in child's education, and under that we see parents are getting educated, means they may be illiterate. Educated, when I say, we are not teaching them reading and writing skills, but we are teaching them skills required for sending a child to school and what is their responsibility, what they should be doing, so the child will go forward. So that is very important, and that is we are focusing on equally
Yes. So
as
your
we.
school on wheels, that was the other project that we saw.
Yeah,
in the communities. And today there are 9 buses.
yeah. In Pune and 8 buses in Mumbai. So total there are 17 buses running. And this is like 9 buses. Every bus covers 4 locations every day. And why we require a bus? That there are communities or there are locations, like for example, road construction is going on. Then you cannot hold a class on the road itself. The first we got the idea because in Bombay when we were working, Crawford Market area, because our college was also in Churchgate area and we were in that area, we started work for them. Now, in those days, where child labor was not so much banned as such, so many children used to work in Crawford Market area and doing coolies work, little bit things here, take there, do all that. But there was no place to take those children together and sit for a couple of hours and teach them something. So we used to think if there is something like that, a bus or something, it will be very useful. And also we needed a bus at that time. We thought for school transport. In fact, we used to use the same bus for school transport also and the classroom. Nowadays, that is not permitted, so we are having separate buses. And school transport also is supposed to be provided by the government these days. But we require school transport because in cities, traffic is heavy. The schools are close by. Means what we talk about, means government says ki within a kilometer's distance or 2 kilometers distance, primary schools are there. And in cities, of course, they are there. So children can walk. That much walking they can easily do. But traffic conditions are such that parents do not feel safe to send a child alone to school on such streets at the age of 6, and therefore child's admission gets delayed. I mean they say कि अभी तो बच्चा है, अभी तो बच्चा है, फिर भेजेंगे करके करके child grows up, and then at the age of 8, if you enroll a child in school, the children don't like to sit in school and they don't get used to sitting in school further. 6-year-old child gets used to sitting in school easily. That
Very
is why
easily.
school transport is required. And the buses are required because the bus can be parked and the children can sit there and we can teach them for a couple of hours and they can why we start like that ki, when I say ki we enroll all the children, but all the children are not 6-year-old when you enter the community. There are children who are 10-year-old, 12-year-old and never been to school. So, so that they should not remain adult illiterates, we have to take literacy classes for them. And literacy we have defined by being able to read a newspaper. When I say reading a newspaper, is like because Devanagari script is such that if you have learnt it properly and fully, then you should be able to read anything which is written in that, whether you understand the meaning or you don't understand. So we have defined it not just making your own signature or something. Literacy is being able to read a newspaper, and that is how older children we were taking literacy classes and still do. But these days, older children also can be enrolled in school as age appropriate grade. Like a 10-year-old child, if he is being admitted first time in school, even then we will admit that child in the fourth standard or fifth standard. So, but when we started, it was not like that, and that is how it is going on, and therefore the buses were required. Like we cannot sit there in the middle of the street and teach, but we can park a bus somewhere close by and children started learning like that.
So the bus itself, for our viewers, because I visited the bus, is
Yeah,
has 3 sections where you have children of 3 different levels
yes,
learning with one teacher. So there are 3 to 4 teachers, and you have a lot of instructional material,
yeah,
creative and art material on the walls. There is a television monitor, right, ma'am, where
right.
they can some digital
Shall I show
tools can
the
get
bus?
employed. Yes.
Would you like to apply bus? We shall please show. So we can show the bus here. When the bus is model.
So in fact, This was that model that you had,
See, this
small
is
model.
like that is the small model. This is the main bus. This is how everything is written, and inside the bus is the children can sit,
Yes.
and like that, and all the things which we have in the classroom, which is not in the bus, which is in the room as such, everything is adjusted here, and therefore there is a blackboard. Behind the blackboard there is a TV screen and other things, and a small library is also inside. Even a box of science materials is also there, so children can learn. And there are, means that day there were teachers. You think there are four teachers, but not the four teachers. There are two teachers. Others were supervisors and other things because
Okay.
visits was there. But two teachers are there. But children, we teach them always in groups, and
Yes.
groups are made according to their level of learning of uh, script, Devanagari script, like alphabets, then matras, and then uh, uh, Jodaksharas. So,
Also,
like,
the
for the
kinesthetic learning, they were also doing physical movements to
yeah,
remember the,
right.
the kanas, the
Correct. Like this
matras.
is Matra, this is Kana, like that they do it.
Correct.
Ah. So it is, and we have a training center also.
For
So
the
our
pupils.
teachers are not D.Ed, B.Ed teachers. They are 10th standard, 12th standard pass girls, and generally coming from the similar kind of communities. But we have a training center. We train them, and they teach this. And we don't take teaching as like first standard teaching, second standard teaching as such. We take basic literacy and numeracy skills. We have to teach them, and they go to school, and we see to it that they continue in school.
Yeah. So this is a fascinating story that the journey that you've had. And in fact, your book, सर्वांसाठी शिक्षण दिसायला सोपं आणि असायला कठीण is a compilation of all the articles that Rajni ma'am wrote in the Lok Satta newspaper, plus some new essays, right?
Yeah. So
And this has certain stories which were, uh, where there was one particular story where the parents went and invested in these tiffin boxes, and
yeah,
the children came with these tiffin boxes.
yeah,
So the kind of even the parents, for them to feel involved, that I'm doing something to send my child to school.
right.
And then the overnight, sometimes the location changes,
Yeah.
and the children are not there. So I remember those were some extremely poignant pieces.
Right. They are there because particularly on construction sites, thekedars are there, and they take their laborers overnight wherever other work is there. Their laborers themselves do not know that they are going to change the location, and road construction and other locations, it is definitely it happens like that. Nowadays, these risks are much less because of the telephone and mobile phone. Everybody almost has a phone. So communication is not such a great problem these
What is your dream for the future
days.
for
If you
DSSF?
ask me really, DSS, what shall I
So
say?
what a body of
Honestly,
work. Yeah,
yeah, honestly, if you ask me, I would not like to continue DSSF. The need for DSSF should not be there
yeah.
because we are what we are doing is only foundational work. Now, why should we have it? Because if we say कि everyone should be in school, everyone here, everyone there, and there are so many things government is trying to do, but it is not happening because of many things, and therefore uh, even if I feel that expansion of our work is not a real good sign, even then it is necessary, and therefore I feel that everybody, all of us, because it is such a simple thing to do, and it is a must because it is the foundation. Unless you are able to read and write basic things, you can never study further. So that is a must. So what I feel is कि uh, generally means the people who are educated people do not know about the problem and the vast problem as it is, that so many groups of children who are there who are not even attending school even in cities. Forget about villages. So what I feel is that people should take more interest. Means we read reports like ASAR reports every year are published in papers. Ki fourth standard child is also not able to read, fifth standard child is not able to read. But that is all. Nobody really thinks of doing anything for it. Doing things are very, in a way, simple because we are only thinking, ki, okay, give them basics, give them, educate them, put them in school and other things. But that is not happening. Only recently, I'm very surprised when I'm talk about it with everybody. In nurseries, like where plants and other things, we have found children who are working in nurseries because there are families and the family takes the work on them. So the more work you do, the more money you get. It is not daily wages or something per person. It is the work oriented thing, and based on the work given, you get the money. So children are working there, and nobody even knew. Means I at least myself do not know any organization. Means everybody works with construction laborers or sugarcane workers or wheat butties and other things. But nurseries I have heard for the first time. And you would be surprised on Pune Solapur route, with very, very cursory survey, we have found 800 and we have started work. So what I feel is कि more kind of our eyes, we have to start looking out for such kind of children. We should do something for them because when we talk about like our population is young and that is our asset and that is what India is talking about so much more. If that so many children do not go to school and so many young people will not be educated and other things, what is the use of their being there, being young kind of population? Young population will be only of some use if they can be working productively, have education, learn things, learn skills, things like that, which is not happening. Lot, when a large number of children, wherever we go, we find children who are not attending school. And even if they are enrolled in school, they are not attending. School attendance is very, very poor. So what I feel is that people like us, the middle class and above and others, firstly take interest in the subject because no political party is interested in this. You will not find any political party talking about children's education. They talk about giving food and giving this and giving that, midday meal and other things, but no real kind of focus on it. Otherwise, this is one problem, one social problem, which can be fully solved because it doesn't recur. If health problems, these other problems, they recur. And for every single person, you have to work. Whereas here, one person in family is educated, the family automatically it snowballs and so this is one problem, one social problem which can be over permanently, but it is not happening like that. So that is my real, in my mind, I always feel that my life I am not going to see that day. That is. But I feel that we should take much, much more interest. The middle class means so much one can do really. Volunteer means online volunteering one can do. Teach the children because we do only foundational maths, English, this, that. One-to-one teaching can be done, or do whatever. At least be aware of the problem, minimum, which is not there. This awareness is not there. That is the thing.
You know, we were listening to Rajni ma'am talking on our Lumiere Learning Monday channel, and she's told us about the Doorstep School Foundation that she founded close to 30 years ago, and her work as a educationist, as a social worker. looking at these marginalized families and providing access to literacy and numeracy is a project worth studying. She has, Rajni ma'am, you've been awarded many times, and the work, what you talk about, that what the seed that you have planted, let's hope, all everybody feels inspired in some way to pay attention to this malaise so that it does not, like you say, it's not a recurring problem once and for all. The problem can be tackled and addressed, and we become sensitized to the fundamental needs of a child, which is to learn and to go to school. So, with that, I'd like to thank you for being our guest today. And for the viewers, I invite you to listen to more such talks of inspiring personalities on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming today.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to your viewers and say what I wanted to say. And I really thank you very much.
Thank you so much.